All right, let's get it started. So Joe, what's the latest from NBK? You went to a tournament and you got some channel changes coming up?
Yeah, went to a tournament. For those who were following the weight cut, everything went really good. Made weight Friday night. Had the chance to rehydrate quite a bit before the tournament. I didn't end up pulling the pro classes. I think started around 4, so I had a lot of time to put a lot of my weight back on. Ended up going first, both arms. It was a good time. Big turnout. I think there was like 100 or 90 some kids entries. So, I mean, it was a lot of arm wrestling before the pros even got to get on the table. And yeah.
So how much weight did you cut?
I started the week out. I was 170 that Sunday before. So I guess 16 pounds from Sunday to Friday.
Were you walking at 170 or you had previously cut a few pounds to get to 170?
No, that's what I like. And that's actually a little heavy for me. I normally walk at about 168 is my like typical training, just normal weight. If I'm really just trashing my eating and not caring, I could be like 173, but that's like McDonald's and for like ice cream and pizza and just shit, not eating good. Yeah, it went well. Believe it or not, I was in better shape on Friday to make the weight than I was the last time I made 54, and I thought I was going to be in worse shape because I started at the cutoff about 2 pounds heavier than normal. So it was, I don't know, it was more mental than anything. I was in my head the whole time wondering whether or not those 2 pounds were going to make or break Friday, because I didn't want to come down all that weight and then Friday, stalemate like 2 pounds away and then decide, well, screw it, I'll just pull the 76s and be a cancer patient, 54. Just, I don't know. It was
like I told you, yeah. Joseph, every time you do these cuts, every time you do it, it gets a little bit easier. You know your body a little bit more. It'll get better as you go.
Yeah, definitely. You're like, out of anyone that I asked, even before we started the show, I was talking to you two guys exclusively about weight cutting because I knew you guys knew a thing or two. And what you guys told me and showed me articles, tell you what, made the difference night and day between the first time cutting to the second time to the third time. And now this is my 4th time successfully getting down there and getting back up pretty quickly, actually.
Because Joe, the difference between the success you can have in a proper weight cut is the difference between having 5 or 10 amateur medals, right? So I mean, it's an art in itself. You got to cultivate it.
Yeah, I was like, I only have like 1 amateur medal and 1 novice medal. I didn't pull too many novice classes. I had 2 arms break, dude, and I was like, I'm out of there. So, yeah, that's that. Oh, I guess channel update. The only thing that's really different or new that I'm going to try out, and I've been talking about it for a while, is starting a subscription-based type service where I offer content that's not offered to anybody else on a different platform for like a tiered system where there'd be like a bronze, silver, and like gold, for example, like $1, $2, and $3 a month for, say, I don't know, whatever it would be. I would have to think about it a lot more. It's just something I'm looking into because YouTube is not, exactly the best way to try and make the lion's share of your income back from traveling to, to a lot of these events and stuff. So just things I'm looking at. Other than that, new videos I'm going to try and get new videos out every other day. But as I've discussed before, the internet speeds are getting looked at, and we're trying to come up with a way to be able to do more of my work from home versus driving to go and do the uploading and stuff, because it just takes like pretty much an hour per minute of footage to upload, and that's beyond unacceptable.
Yeah. What's the biggest event you're going to hit this year?
The biggest event that I'm going to hit this year, I'll say the Arnold.
And you're competing?
Yes, I am competing. And
you're filming?
Yes, I'm filming the whole thing and competing as well.
Nice.
I'll be running my dual camera rig on the middle of the main stage on Friday, and then Saturday the finals are on a different stage, I believe, for the first time this year. They're not on the main stage. It's a smaller stage, I think. And I'll be running the same 2 cameras, except for the finals, they'll only run 1 table, as far as I know. And then I'll be able to take pictures and video at the same time. So I'll get a lot better pictures day 2 than I will day 1, if anyone's wondering.
Cool. All right, so I guess let's jump into the main topic of the show, which is basically monopolization in the sport of arm wrestling. So there's some recent news out regarding the WAF banning of their referees participating in certain events, such as PAL events. And so we figured we'd start off with some discussion regarding recent history of monopolies in arm wrestling. So I'll start the discussion. You guys chime in, because I think it may have looked different to you guys being in different parts of the United States. But my first experience with it was probably around, it's probably when UAL started. So UAL started in 2010, and I can't remember if it was 2011, 2012, or even 2013, but UAL rolled out contracts, right? And these contracts basically signed away your TV rights or visual rights to the UAL. And what this would allow the UAL to do is prevent pullers from competing in another organization that might want to monetize the content through TV, through live stream, and these sorts of venues. And the way it played out, I remember it, was that UAL started passing out these contracts to any and every arm wrestler imaginable. I went to one event. They were bringing people into a closed door. They go in, get a pitch, sign the contract, leave the closed room. And I remember leaving an event, and like 4 of the guys on my team had signed contracts. All of those guys were amateur arm wrestlers. So, you know, that's what I remember happening. And I get it. I think it was a business move. If you can sign every arm wrestler in the United States, then you are the league, you know. So if the Herman and Chris League had everyone on contract, WAL can't put people on TV. They can't put people on the live stream. So I think that was my first experience with it prior to WAL. Did you guys see any of this stuff? I mean, the UAL was kind of regional to some extent, but I mean, did you guys experience any of that?
I did, but I got no beef with it. I mean, if the value is there and they're that good in a league and they're offering great opportunities, there's no problem with it. I would never sign anything, not so early, because when they were asking people to sign, it was too early and it was all promises, but nothing was substantial, right? They were coming in, there were 6 months starting, so you know, I can see them wanting a bigger, any big league, any big association wanting a bigger piece of the pie. It's good business. Pullers are idiots, you know, to the shiniest toy. So that's what happened, and I think UAL do it. But where's UAL now, right? I mean, they're done, or they're on a smaller scale.
Joseph, were you around back then?
2014 is actually the year that I started arm wrestling, but Andrew Bragansky was talking about it right when I started, and I was so weirded out by it. I remember seeing a post on Facebook. Actually, that's the year I first got on Facebook too. But he said, "What league should I join? I'm thinking about signing with the UAL." And I was like, what the, like, what is it? What do you get? Like, you're signing what, and what do you get? Like, are they flying you to events? Are you getting hotels? Are you
get a sense of significance, and that's what most lower end arm wrestlers want. They want to feel part of something bigger than what they are. They want to feel like they're going somewhere bigger than what they can probably attain. And so that's why the majority of these contracts weren't offered to Herman, or they were, but Herman dismissed it right away. The majority of people that quickly signed are the fucking posers, the amateurs, the people that just want to be part of something bigger than they are. And so they capitalized on that. They were opportunistic. Right.
Correct. And I think it helped. Basically, they signed up and contracted a fan base because people felt part of the big picture, like you said. But the thing is, even if you were a pro, they didn't offer you anything directly for what you signed up for. You know, it was maybe you get a match, maybe you get this. But for all the amateurs that signed up, I mean, they got nothing, and there was never an intent to give an amateur arm wrestler anything. You know, so it was odd to me, kind of how that played out. And again, you essentially signed away the rights to your image, to be on TV, live stream, etc. So I know when I saw the contracts, I said, well, if I go to the, you know, Herman and Gobby Invitational, and Gobby wants to stream it on the internet, I would technically be in violation of that contract. You know, someone could threaten legal action against me or that promoter. And I think those things happened, you know, over the course of the years, you know. So I think for someone to say, oh, ignore the contract, I don't think it's that simple, because people have threatened legal action against arm wrestlers and or promoters that violated those contracts.
Yeah. From the beginning of time, arm wrestling is one guy promoting an event, people showing up and pulling. And what, you know, it's been the norm, it's been the culture, but it hasn't led to like legitimacy. So what UAL did is offer the idea of legitimacy, something you can be a part of that's concrete, that offers sustained tournaments, sustained stability, all this stuff. And that's what brought everyone in, because it's the illusion of what we all want the arm wrestling world to be. One big, huge league. And what the perception was eventually you're all going to get your own shirts, your playing cards, you're all going to have your own profile, you're all going to generate income from it. Now, the smarter people know that, yeah, sure. But you have the majority of the sheep just flocking because it sounds right. It just feels right. And it's what they're hoping for. So it just sucks everyone in. But they played that. Now, I don't know, did Drank actually believe that that's where he was going? Or all along did he know he was going to pull in all this cash and then pull the plug? I don't know. But what they were offering, what they were selling, was the idea of stability and legitimacy. Because that's what all arm wrestlers deep down want. Of course, they're not going to sell, the smarter ones are not going to sell their soul to get it. That's for sure.
Correct. So that was the 2012-2013 timeline. Fast forward to 2014. I remember competing at WAL Vegas. I think it was June 2014. And I remember, you know, you had the whole lineup. You know, you register, you weigh in, and then I think the last table was contracts, right? And they gave you this packet, and I remember if it was like 2 pages, small type, or 3 pages, or even a small booklet. But I mean, it was a lot to read, and I say that as someone who reads and is an engineer and analyzes things. And they were just like, "Oh, here you go, sign it." And you'd watch people would just grab this thick packet of paper, sign it, keep moving, sign it, keep moving. And you know, I said, "Hey, do I need to sign this to compete today?" And they said no, but they still needed me to sign it. You know, so I told them, I said, "Look, I don't have a reasonable amount of time to understand what I'm signing away or what I'm agreeing to." And that wasn't enough for them, right? So then they brought out, it was like the boiler room sales tactics, right? So then they brought out like the next sales guy, right? And so then he pushed even harder. And the funny thing to me is that they don't realize the more you push, the more I'm going to push. Like I'm not going to change my stance. If anything, you just made me cement my position even further.
Yeah.
So that guy didn't work. And I said, "Look, I got to focus on the tournament, whatever." Blew those guys off. So I do the tournament, I do well. And after the tournament, they come back again. See, now I know something's wrong. You know, like if there's nothing, if nothing's wrong here, then you just let me go, right? So they bring out the sales guy again. Then they bring out Kaplan. Kaplan was there saying, "Oh, you need to do this," you know, blah blah blah. And then the last sales pitch was, "Hey, we think you'd be good on the next season of Game of Arms, right? How about you sign this contract?" So they threw out like some, like, maybe you might be on the second season of Game of Arms, but you need to sign this contract. And I said, no, how about you put me on the show and then I'll sign the contract. So all that was weird. So I left there. I didn't sign the contract, but again, almost everyone else did. A couple months later, we had UAL 8 in, I think, Huntington Beach. And I remember Bill Logsdon being there. I remember Ethan Fritchie had been there. I think both of those guys had signed WAL contracts, and then they were looking to compete in a recorded UAL event. And I think Ethan pulled against WAL's demands or commands or the contractual obligations. Bill went to Los Angeles. I mean, I don't think that's cheap for Bill Logsdon to go to Los Angeles. And then he had to sit out of the event. Or at least that's how I remember it happening. Someone can correct me in the comments. But what did either of those guys get for those contracts? I don't think theirs weren't paid. They weren't paying, you know, mid-level guys or even national level guys to sign contracts, right? Brzezinski may have been paid, Travis may have been paid, but so that's what I remember going on from a contractual standpoint. Do you remember anything around that time, Gobby, Joseph? I mean, from a WAL standpoint?
Yeah,
I didn't hear anything.
Go ahead, Joe.
I didn't hear anything around that time about that event or anything about like that. Minnesota doesn't have a real big support base for WAL or even, I mean, UAL kind of, but no, I didn't hear anything.
Yeah. Well, when I went to the UAL that was in Chicago, what was that, 7 or 8 or 6? The one that was in Chicago.
Was that 5?
2013, yeah.
Yeah, so that was probably UAL 5.
Okay. Well, prior to that, Drink, or after that, I forget, Drink was up at the Michael Classic as like a semi-sponsor, and he was trying to, you know, he had a pack of contracts, and all these idiots were signing away. And he asked me, and I said, no, there's not enough in it for me. There's just not enough. You're not giving enough. You're not guaranteeing anything. You're giving smoke and mirrors and promises, and it's bullshit. Nothing is concrete. It just didn't make sense to me. You know? Correct.
And I remember like the contracts were blanket contracts. I mean, like technically what I interpreted was that if I wanted to go on the local news to do a gardening show, I couldn't do it because they owned my TV rights.
Yeah.
I mean,
see,
like,
that's bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, like, and who knows? Some people say, well, you weren't going to be on TV for anything anyway. You weren't going to do anything with another league. Anyway. But who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
But if they would say, Herm, we're going to give you $15,000 a year no matter what. We just want you to adhere to these rules. You probably would. But the fact that nothing was not for most people anyway. Nothing was guaranteed. It was all sign away your rights and down the road this is what we're going to give you. Fuck off. Like.
Correct. And I think my goal at the time was like I need to pull Todd Hutchings, right? But guess what? They couldn't even guarantee that. No. WAL at the time was a open tournament type organization. Shortly after, they were a qualifier tournament organization. So signing a contract for nothing just to get into a bracket to hopefully outlast everyone in like a split bracket system to maybe get to Todd, like that was not even a guarantee that I would even get to pull him either. So it was just completely one-sided, kind of odd. And I would say even into maybe late 2014 or 2015, you could go to a local tournament that was sanctioned by WAL, and Joe Blow would be handing out contracts.
That's hilarious.
A requirement to compete. Now, I was able to compete in some of those because I think I had enough credit or credibility that I was able to bypass that. But the requirement was, oh, if you're going to compete in this local tournament, you need to sign
pre-register, right?
Yep.
That was the whole pre-register thing. Yeah, that's the one reason why I never did that. You had to pre-register like weeks out, or you had to, I mean, it was huge. Like that was a make or break deal, you know? I mean, obviously not for you, but for most, like for me, guys like me, oh yeah, that was a make or break. You're not competing at these events unless you pre-register, which means you sign the contract.
You recall the guy? You must know this guy, Herman. I forget his name. Scott, big glasses, old guy, like 55. He's down in California somewhere. Been pulling for like 35 years. Scott something. Anyway, he started this league a year and a half or 2 years ago, saying that if you want to be part of it, you need to pay a $150 membership. But this is what you get. Send me your check. And there was like Ray Code and West.
Whoa. Scott Wynn.
That's it.
The Arm Wrestling Union.
Yeah. So people started sending cash and checks. And to this date, it's like, where's the tournament? Like, did you send back the money? Like, there is like if that's not fucking shady, I don't know what is.
Yeah. And I mean, look, I like Scott personally. I don't know what happened with that, but I do remember him collecting money. I do remember the idea of like arm wrestler owned league and arm wrestler, sponsored league and a big event at the end of the year, and one of those sort of, I don't want to say not for profit, but all the money that goes in basically goes out except for overhead. Yeah, I don't know. We probably need to ask the question and let him defend himself.
I want that league to happen. I just don't know what's happened with it.
Yeah, before he gets the in the hook treatment. But I mean, how long has it been? 2 years?
No, it's only been a year. Chris is a little off on that, but I think it's been 1 year. I think 1 year. But still, I mean, I support it. I want it to happen. The idea sounds good. But
so I'll say this. Let's stick on the subject of monopolization. I think there's a second show or multiple shows we can do on just scams in arm wrestling.
I knew this was coming.
So no, we'll get there another day. So that was 2014. I think 2015, 2016 contracts were similar for WAL. I think UAL kind of fell down by the wayside. And then 2018, WAL sort of narrowed their fleet of arm wrestlers after canceling the finals in the previous year. So the contracts thing is not really like an issue for the bulk of pullers because there's no open events or tournaments where they're trying to capture people. So from a U.S. standpoint, I think the monopolization thing is probably not that big a deal. Nationals is dead. WAL is the only real pro show in town. You got any thoughts on that, Gobby? Or is that's fairly accurate? I mean,
yeah. On the flip side of that, have you, when we're talking about promoters trying to capitalize, have you ever heard of a promoter putting on a tournament where the top 3 or top 5 get cash prizes, significant cash prizes, and there's no entry fee at all for any of the pullers in any weight class in any division? Have either of you ever heard of that, of an event like that in the history of the sport?
No.
Kingston Open, Devin's event, the bottom 8, that's what he's doing. Imagine that. Now, I don't know. I got to believe it's going to be successful on that alone. I mean, especially for people that can drive within a couple hours to get there. How do you not go to that event, right? That's incredible. That sponsor, right? He's got sponsorship money so he can get away with it. But that's not him pulling money out of pullers' pockets to pay, pull from one guy to give to the other. That's sponsor money, his name, selling, marketing, sponsor money, no entry fee, cash goes out.
Correct. It's a new business model.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I will say one thing about contracts in UAL. I did a UAL event in 2016. They recorded it. It never got aired anywhere, and there's very little, audience footage that ever made it out. But they did a bunch of 4-way mega matches, and by 2016, UAL has shifted to a single event contract. Mm-hmm. Right. So I was able to compete that day, sign away my TV rights for that day, and then not get restricted to anything that I've done or was planning to do. And then also in November of 2015, I did a PAL Vendetta match, 6 rounds with Alan Ford. And that was also a one day contract for my, TV rights and that sort of thing for that match.
Right.
So fast forward to today, there was some news out that the World Arm Wrestling Federation banned their referees from participating in other events, and I think it's specifically PAL events. Now, it seems the aim may be to take control of all of their referee staff, hurt the PAL events, possibly shut down the PAL events in an attempt to bolster their position in the world arm wrestling scene. At the same time, Igor, the owner of PAL, had won the bid for Poland to host Worlds this year in Poland. And I think, in my understanding is that in response, Igor has decided, WAF also decided to take away the World Championships from the Polish Arm Wrestling Federation, which I think Igor's a part of. And Igor's decided to host the Worlds in Poland no matter what. So as of today, there's a World Championships possibly happening in Poland and a second World Championship possibly happening in Romania.
What's the date of the non-tested one?
Say that again?
What's the date of the non-tested one that Igor?
Oh, yeah. Maybe one of them doesn't have drug testing. Yeah, we're both.
Okay, are they on two separate dates?
Who knows? I don't know. I don't think anything is secure. It's just a lot of hot air right now. All I know is Igor's pissed. Igor's not the type of man to get levered upon. And I think WAF is trying to develop some type of stranglehold. And I think there's an agenda also with testing, because Igor's events aren't tested. And I don't think they love Zloty. I don't think they love the PAL stuff. So, yeah, but I'm a bigger fan of Igor and what he does than I am of WAF. So whatever Igor has to do, I'm a big supporter of his.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of shady stuff that's just happened with WAF just over the years. I mean, we can bash American arm wrestling and some of our promoters and how things happen, but I don't think from a promotion and administrative standpoint that the world scene outside of the United States is much better. And I would bet due to language barriers, we don't even hear or understand the half of the issues at WAF and a lot of those organizations. But yeah, I think it's kind of sad that they took this move to shut down what is probably, or to hurt what is probably the best organization in the world right now. Say that again?
Over the last decade. Decade, Igor's
over the last decade, because that's where we see the highest levels of matches, right? Yep, WAL's had good matches. UAL has had some good matches, but PAL has had matches with all of the best from WAL and UAL and the United States, in addition to all of the best the world's had to offer. So what's that, Gobby?
And with tremendous production value, right? He spares no expense. I mean, it's a show. I mean, it's an incredible show. You see tons of spectators. He flies in the big names. He pays for all the his bigger guys. The money's good. The trophies are awesome. I mean, it's just a pro event through and through. Tremendous production value, and he's been going a decade strong, at least 2004, 14 years, 15 years. It's impressive. He's by far the most consistently successful promoter I've seen since I've been arm wrestling since 2004 or 5.
What do you think, Drelly?
When I wasn't even arm wrestling, and I would go on to YouTube. That's how I found arm wrestling. You saw a PAL event, and you were like, "Damn, that's obviously the big time, right?" Because, like Gobby said, it's a show, like a big time show. I don't know. I think,
and I would say to that point, right? So, if as a new arm wrestler or non-arm wrestler, what you're seeing are PAL matches, right? That's what's reaching you out on social media. That's what you're finding on the internet. It shows the place of professional organizations like PAL and WAL and what they can do for the sport. Clearly, WAF is not the sport to grow arm wrestling or bring it into like the public mainstream, right?
No.
And so WAF is essentially trying to push out the real players that will grow the sport to cement their position that isn't really helping the sport of arm wrestling grow.
I mean, you can look at their YouTube channel. The WAF YouTube channel has to compare the amount of activity versus Armbets TV, which is essentially PAL, Igor's channel. There's no comparison, and that proves your point. They're trying to snuff out the people who are essentially have a traction or the ability to really grow it.
Yeah. The spinal column of WAF is an old, dusty, fossilized group of people that have been, dogmatic about shit for decades, right? And I've seen it transcend into Canada because for many years we had Fred Roy out of Canada, who was not only the Canadian director but also the WAF director. Now, if you wanted to hold a nationals in Canada, let's say in Montreal, and you said, well, I want to minimize my overhead, so I want to pull out a couple refs from Montreal so I don't have to pay for flight, I don't have to pay for a hotel, they can drive 3 hours or whatever. CAWF had the right to say, nope, we get to pick which refs, and it's within your payroll. You're going to have to pay for them to come from BC, come from the West Coast to the East Coast, put them in a hotel for 3 nights. They had the ability to dictate all these terms, and and of course the brass would be able to go to the Canadians and Worlds and have everything free and have everything paid. So it's a fucking corrupted thing as far as I'm concerned.
But these refs aren't paid full-time salaries to be controlled in this way, right?
No, of course not. And it's up to a promoter. It's up to the promoter, I believe, to pick and choose what refs. Now, of course, because it's nationals or worlds, the refs have to be certified. They can't. You just can't pick dummies. But if one master ref lives down the road and you can get him, or he's a buddy, you can get him for nothing, and you can save that overhead. But the CAWF is dictating, saying no, you can't do that. We're gonna send 8 refs of our own, and you're gonna be forced to pay for $2,000 for each of them of their daily premiums, their hotel, their flight, all this, and it's horseshit. So to hold the Canadians, the budget to hold the Canadians is like, I don't know, $50,000-$60,000. It's insane, and there's too much corruption. I've always said there's too much corruption in that bullshit. And the CAWF is just a branch of the WAF, right? There is a branch. It's the same association, just branched out to a country, opposed to a world organization. But it's the same shit. It's corruption, much like any strong political force. There's heavy corruption in it, and a lot of self-serving agendas. What's Igor? Igor's got a ton of cash. Igor loves arm wrestling. Igor's honest with everyone he deals with, as far as I can see. And Igor puts on a fucking show. It's like if you or me won $500 million and we put on an event. I mean, holy fuck with that event. Like any arm wrestler that's independently wealthy at a high level, if he decided to put on an event, he wouldn't be trying to torch, trying to get nickels from this person and trying to get that or dictate. He's just like, let's put on a fucking show for the pullers. And Igor, of course, I'm sure his events make a profit. He wouldn't be in it if not. But Igor sees. I mean, I think he loves arm wrestling. I think a lot of these people that run the bigger WAF, CWF associations, I'm not sure how much they love the sport as much as they've been embedded. Well, at first they did, but at this point they're embedded into the political aspect of it and the control aspect of it. And that's what I think what's happening in WAF right now, extending their leverage towards Igor and the PAL. I think that's what we're seeing now.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely tell Igor is a fan of the sport. I mean, the videos he makes and the time he puts into them, I mean, you couldn't fake those videos. You know what I mean? Like Igor, you can tell he's genuinely excited about freaking measuring Dennis's arms and and recording the weights people are lifting and that sort of thing. And even some of the instructional videos he does. I mean, across the board, I mean, I think it's kind of hard to not be supportive of Igor or even take his side in an issue like this.
Yeah. I've had one-on-one interactions with Drake, with WAL, with CAWF. I mean, I've talked to older leaders and have a history with all of them. I can tell you that I've had one event interaction or a contract with Igor, and I can tell you I've never been, and no one has more power. Like even outside of arm wrestling, Igor has power. Like Igor is a man if you know his history, outside of arm wrestling, he has a tremendous amount of power and leverage within his country. And no promoter ever treated me as well as Igor. Like, after the event, he was busy with everything. And I'm like, dude, I got a bolt. And he's just like, here, let me give you your cash. And he was all smiles, even though I got sliced up by Vazken 6-0. He was like, thanks for coming. He was polite. He was classy. And he could have, he didn't have to do that. But I just can't say anything bad about that guy. You can tell sometimes when someone's directly in your face and how they're communicating with you, if they're trustworthy or how credible they are. And it doesn't matter where they're from or whatnot. And just the read I got off Igor was just a strong, dominant figure that just has a lot of integrity. I'd endorse anything he does. Definitely a good dude.
There was one question from an audience member saying, if there is no resolution made, would there be support for a new World Federation where other organizations group together, whereas such as WAL, WEA, PAL, and Pound for Pound are all represented?
Yeah. I have to say absolutely. Like, that would be massive, right? Arm wrestling needs cohesion. We talk about monopolization and stuff, but really, in an ideal world, cohesion is where we find our most success. It's just not necessarily part of the human strongest trait to be cohesive and share a part of the pie. But I think ideally that's what we'd all want, is cohesion, because it's to the benefit of all, to the sport in general.
Yeah, I would say it's highly unlikely. I mean, if we can't do it in the United States, how are you going to do it on a world level?
Right.
Exactly. That's my thought.
So yeah, I mean, we would support it, we'd want it, but highly unlikely.
Yeah, definitely highly unlikely.
Okay, let's segue to something else. You guys want to talk Juji Mufu?
Sure.
Yeah.
So there's a video going around of Juji Mufu. I mean, you guys seen it, him arm wrestling Devin Larratt. There's one of him arm wrestling Larry Wheels, who is probably the strongest bodybuilder on the planet right now. And also arm wrestling with Hafthor Bjornsson, maybe the world's strongest man or one of those guys. And what do you think, Gobby? Good for the sport, bad for the sport? Did you see the video?
It's good for of course. It's good for the general popularity of the sport, but it's bad for the credibility of the sport, because like I see this, it doesn't mean anything. Like we've seen Devin play with Hawthorne, and I mean, I don't know. I just find it's a big joke, and it's kind of like mocking the sport and playing down to the technical aspect of the sport a little bit. Anything that gets YouTube video views, anything that generates optics in a non-arm wrestling demographic, so anything that gets out of people that are outside of the arm wrestling world to see, oh my God, look at this, and generates excitement and generates a little bit of interest, is great for the sport, but not necessarily its credibility. It's just good for the optics or maybe the popularity. But none of this stuff really ever impresses me, because I know bodybuilders aren't strong arm wrestlers. I know YouTube sensations aren't strong arm wrestlers. It doesn't translate to me. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a way to generate views. But there's nothing behind it. There's no credibility behind it.
What do you think, Joe?
I like watching them. Well, I'm kind of waiting for my pre-workout to kick in. I'll watch Juji's new videos and stuff. This one was a little harder to watch because he's teaching Hafthor how to press, and with not exactly the best form. And I'm like, man, see, that's where I draw the line. People who are new like that shouldn't really be. All I would have liked to have seen is a pro to have been there to be like, giving a little bit of guidance.
Yeah, or put Vazken at 150 pounds playing with both those fucking guys. But they would never do that because that just makes them look terrible. But that's what I would want to see. Like, really show what a technically strong arm wrestler can do giving up 300 pounds to these yahoos. This isn't your sport. This is our sport. You're coming in for another sport. It doesn't translate. And, of course, what happens is, like Juji Mufu, he's like all about arm wrestling now. But in 6 months, he's going to be gone. Like, he's not an arm wrestler. He's brought in by Devin.
That's the question, right?
He's brought in by Devin as a puppet to generate views. But in 6 months, he'll be doing something else with a fucking horse mask, climbing a fucking mountain, with a fucking moose carcass on his back or something stupid to generate views. But what? I mean, there's no credibility behind it. It means for me, I look at that and I'm saying some fucker trying to gain attention means nothing, and it has zero translation to our sport. He's done nothing in our sport. You know, these big, huge fuckers that come into the sport, Big Frank, I give them no respect, and they're always like, well, why don't you respect? Because you've done nothing. This isn't your world. This is our world, and you've shown nothing here. So I will give you no respect until it's been earned. In my world,
hey, babe,
respect always has to be earned, no matter who you are, especially within my environment. So it's like, it means nothing. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I felt it was pretty cringe-worthy. I would say it is a double-edged sword. I mean, I think it does put a lot of eyes on arm wrestling, a lot more than any of us can do, a lot more than even Devin can do by himself.
Oh, way more.
But yeah, I mean, I still get the impression that it was just a big joke. You know. Also, I was probably concerned that all of them would hurt themselves. So if you have someone that's that high profile, arm wrestling the world's strongest man, and he breaks his arm, like, I think that hurts the sport, right? And the reason why you would have an injury is because of the strength gap and the lack of technique and the lack of knowledge. And then the assumption would be that, oh, look, these guys break their arms. I'm never trying this.
Yep.
But overall, just like, I mean, the whole premise of, like, I don't watch all of Juji's stuff, but the stuff that I've seen has all been kind of cringy, you know, like just goofy, silly, like you said, horse mask, backflips, kicking flamingos. And so now when I look at all of that goofy stuff, and then arm wrestling's right there in line with it.
It's funny because he's a fucking clown. Everything he does is clownish, but he's really, if you look at him and what he's doing, for his size, his agility, he could be like a Hall of Fame linebacker. Like, the guy has incredible natural ability, but instead of having the balls and fully committing to a sport, any sport, pro sport, the guy can be a football player. The guy could probably be anything. He's a sheer 0.11% like to commit to one thing. He's doing these YouTube clownish things. Maybe he makes a shitload of money doing it. I don't know, but I look at a guy like that.
Oh, he does.
You just don't have the balls. You just don't have the courage and conviction and testicular fortitude to commit to one and pursue something incredible. So instead, you're a YouTube sensation because you really don't have it. It doesn't impress me at all. And I'm going to see him at Devin's event, and I'm not going to ask for an autograph. I won't even shake his hand. Like, you're nothing in my world. You're nothing. And he might win against his first round matchup is pretty soft. He might win, but then it's over for him, and we'll never see him again. That's my prediction. You know, and like when you see these two guys arm wrestle, and there is a spike, a quick influx of excitement in the sport from people outside of our demographic, but long term, there is no residual impact. There was nothing that's gonna, from that video, there's nothing that's gonna stay in our world or help our world 2 years from now, right? But let's say they broke their arm, or the risk is not worth the reward. So I never like seeing these things because not even even not an injury. Like, let's say one of these big fuckers hurts themselves to the point they can't train for a couple months, and then they're training with a whole bunch of guys in their gym, like 200-300 people following them. They're like they're groupies and stuff like that. And the guy's saying, "I'm never going to arm wrestle again. It's a terrible sport. I couldn't even bench press for 2 months. Like, I hurt something in my elbow." It's just the reward is just not worth the risk, and there is no long-term positive impact within our sport. It's just short-term.
Yeah, and I mean, and to be clear, I mean, I don't think any of us thinks, you know, Juji's a bad guy, or anything along those lines. I mean, he's probably a better dude than most of the promoters in the United States. But you know, it just this is just kind of how it comes across. It just doesn't come good, and I think they're all having a good time. But just even how they discuss it, you know, not to be some like super serious old fart in arm wrestling, it just comes across like it's a joke. Right. And because they don't know what's going on, the way they talk about top rolling, or, you know, arm wrestlers know these tricks, you know, no, dude, we'll beat you because we're stronger than you.
And there's a level of respect there, because if you and I ever meet and we're hanging out and we're having supper and I'm like, Herm, let me tell you about engineering. Like, if I have any respect for you and I know nothing about engineering, and I don't pretend to, and I start pretending to show you something about, or someone, a third party, and you're, it's kind of a disrespect to you. And I find that this is what these guys are doing. And if they really respected the sport and they really wanted to embed themselves within the sport and grow and get better, they wouldn't be doing these side show bullshit. They would like be learning. They'd be like, show me, let me learn before I start demonstrating, because I've had 2 tournaments under my belt, and I'm gonna do a big demonstration with this 6'9" guy to generate views. Like, it's just not, it's not smart, and I find it's a slap in the face to the arm wrestling world. It's a lack of respect, kind of like about engineering. It's just a slap in the face to you, and that's what he's doing.
Do you know where these guys are based?
North Carolina.
Really? Okay, so like they could do the same thing. You could still have the same guys in the room, but you can get James Rodriguez in there.
He's been on his show, actually, that you say that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I watched an arm wrestling video where it was just a bunch of horsing around, So, I mean, there's a better way.
I know.
That it could be done, but I don't know.
If he really loved the sport, he'd be, let me keep a low profile. Let me go train for 6 months, 8 months. Let me still go to these tournaments and see where I can go. But that's not what he's doing, is it? It's not what he's doing at all. So which tells me that he's not serious, but he sees a way to spike his views on his channel with a different demographic. But once he's pulled out all the views he can from the arm wrestling world, he'll go do something else, like he'll be a rodeo clown somewhere in Texas for a couple of weeks to pull out of that demographic. And when he's pulled out of that demographic, he'll go somewhere else, because that's what he does. It's a smart business model, right? He's very, very smart, and I'm sure he's a great guy, and he's great with kids and all this shit. He's just, for me, there's no respect there. He's not committing to one thing. He's not pursuing one thing. And in my world, in our sport, he's nothing. And he's shown nothing.
I'd like to see. Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Joe.
I'd like to see him start holding practices with James, coming, say, to every other practice or something. Because could you imagine the people that he could draw into a practice? I mean, there's got to be at least 2 good arm wrestlers for every 20, non-arm wrestling fans who are going to come once and leave, right? So even if you pull 2 good arm wrestlers from every practice, I'll take it. I'll take it, dude. That's a win.
But that's not his agenda. That's not his.
No, I know.
See, I smashed Ryan Bowen, but Ryan worked hardcore for 5-6 years, and what he's doing is he's fully embedded his life into arm wrestling, and like I give him respect on that standpoint, because he's all in. He's fully committed, and he does help the sport, and he holds practices, and I'm sure he'll help anyone who wants to learn. So, I put him in my scale of respect way higher than Juji Mufu. I mean,
now we just have to
nothing.
I don't know. Greg Gray mentioned Texas. I'm trying to figure out, is he really in Texas?
Greg Gray? Yeah, that's where he's at, right?
No,
Juji Mufu.
No. It's North Carolina, dude, for sure.
Oh, because if he was in Texas, I was gonna go find him.
Yeah, who gives a shit?
No, it's North Carolina. I'm almost positive, because James has been on his show, and I'm pretty sure James is based in that area.
Oh, but James ends up in Texas too for grip stuff, I think.
Oh,
I know he's going on trips.
Okay, so here's a better question. I know, man, now I can't think of his name. Never mind.
Let's see if I can find some information.
I'm pretty sure it's North Carolina. Somebody's got to comment it by now.
All right, moving on.
Yeah.
Time to talk training?
Sure.
Do it.
So, Gobby, I guess let's get a training update. We'll get some questions in, and we'll answer some questions. But until then, like, what's your training looking like, and what's going on?
So since November, I've just been off all drugs and supplementation, and just trying to detox my body. So just clean eating, intermittent fasting, doing a little bit of arm wrestling on the table, and more compounding central nervous system metabolic stressors in the gym to try to up my hormones. So just been toying with that now, and I had nothing really on the radar, nothing big. But now I got this thing with Ryan, and now like Devin's giving us all money to show up. There's motivation to win it. So there's enough money an motivation for me to start training. So training more specifically for arm wrestling, rather, and try to get my weight up. My weight's maybe at 155. So I gotta get it. I gotta try to get it up to one. If he's gonna be 230, I should probably get it up to maybe at least 170, 175. So yeah, back on a mild cycle, maybe a 10, 12 week cycle, nothing crazy. 250 milligrams of test, maybe or 500 milligrams of test, 250 of equipoise, something like that. Just something good for arm wrestling, something just to get my weight up, heal my elbows and stuff like that, and see what happens.
Nice.
Yeah.
Any changes in your training? I mean, what's your training going to look like in preparation?
I go through periods where I just don't put much effort into the right. The right has chronic elbow issues, rotator cuff issues with the right, and it can pull. But my left really never gets injured, and the left I can really go hard capacity stuff with. So I go through periods where I just really concentrate on the left more. Now, of course, because of him, I'm going to have to equal it out a bit more. And so kind of looking forward to starting to do heavy statics with the right, heavy flies with the right, or equally to the left. Sometimes when I do flies, I'll have 100 or dumbbell presses, rather. I'll have a 100 in the left and like an 80 in the right, because my left is just stronger right through on everything. So try to bring the right back up. Just get on the table once every 2, maybe 3 weeks, something like that, and really, really work the hand every day. 60 minutes a day of containment. So when I talk containment, I break it down into three things. Containment for me is straight flexion with a 3.5-inch handle, and then again a 3-inch flexion, but with coming off the bottom of my hand to protect my back fingers versus a low hand top roller. And then the third aspect of containment for me is flat finger pressure. So I'll have every day I'll do 20 minutes of each, a different exercise each time, to make sure it's not stagnant. And so I'll start my workout with 60 minutes of alternating right and left of those three components of containment. And then I'll go into some heavy compound stuff, maybe a small isolation thing, and just bang out that every day till second week of April, and just super compensate, and just rest and let everything heal and come back up. That'll be the plan, and see what happens.
Now, why can't you guys just pull left? I mean, there's nothing that says you can't choose a different.
Same reason Vaz Kent didn't want to pull me left in Vegas in 2015. People don't like me. People like to beat up. People like to target me. I think they take pride in beating me, and it's easier to target my right arm. And I'm not going to say no. So he didn't want to pull left. Now we end up working out a left-hand super match at the end of the event, only because another guy's putting up money. So Ryan doesn't have to put his own money up. But in terms of the main event, it's right arm, and because he just doesn't want any part of my left. Now, in his defense, he's right dominant. Well, I'm not right dominant, but I'll pull. I can, it's a challenge. And I think if my hand can get strong enough and I can heal up my elbow, I think I can get my weight up to about 170, and I can stop it. I think he's in trouble. I don't know if he can hang with the lateral game if I get all my shit in order, right? So we'll see. But
will we ever see a 240-pound Gobby again?
Yeah, no. But it's a good kind of fun matchup for me, because really I can't lose. Like I'm gonna give my best, and if I lose, I lose. But I lost to what? A right dominant 230-pound younger guy, but if I win, I mean, he has to retire. Like, I mean, if he loses to an older, lighter, weaker right arm, like a left arm dominant guy, if he loses to my right arm, having 60, 70 pounds on me and having 10 years of youth on me, and he loses, like he'll have to block me on every social media platform, because I will berate him for years. I will create profiles to berate him. So
we know, Chris.
And I've lost money. I've lost super matches. No one can embarrass me. I don't fear losing. I'm not scared of losing. I'll be scared to show up ill prepared, because then I have to look at myself in the mirror. But you're not going to humiliate me. I'll come in strong and prepared, and I've lost I've lost many matches, but my right has lost tons of matches, and I feel no shame in it. I'll just battle. I should keep battling and see what happens. No shame in it for me.
Hey, Drellick.
Yeah.
So we're not getting a flood of training questions, but there was one question that came up earlier, and it was regarding did you do a water load as part of your cutting? So I would say, can you give us an outline of what your cut looks like?
Oh, okay. Perfect. Yeah. Like 6 days, 7 days out, I'll just start. I mean, I normally drink at least a gallon of water a day, but at that 7 days out, I'll start drinking 2 gallons of water a day. And then I'll just dial it back, like say day 2 or day 6 would be another 2 gallons. Day 5 would be another 2 gallons. Day 4, I'd probably do a gallon and a half on day 3. Day 2 would just be just one gallon. And then the last day out, maybe only do a half a gallon or 3/4 of a gallon. So yeah, for sure I was water loading. That makes it easier to get rid of the weight while I'm still eating. At least in my experience with my body, I was still eating fat and protein and a good amount of it all the way up until I had to make weight. So I didn't feel like a zombie or anything. I was thirsty because I like basically eliminated all the water in my body to get down to that weight, but I was full. I mean, it wasn't a matter of starving myself. I heard people saying they were getting to weight 3 and 4 days out, and I'm like, you guys are fucking crazy. I'm going to be probably the better part of 8 to 10 pounds away, still 2 to 3 days out. I just don't, to each their own though, like my whole kick was take that article that you sent me and just dial it to arm wrestlers' needs. I don't need to lose 30 pounds in 2 days like that dude was doing, but I just dialed it down to what I needed, and it works really good. And I've shared it with a lot of people, so yeah.
What did your rehydration look like?
My rehydration, I've made a couple of mistakes. I strictly do water with a couple of sips of Pedialyte for the first hour. And immediately after I make the weight, I drink a liter of water within like 10 seconds. That's the priority one, is to get a liter in me immediately. And then I just sort of sip water and, not really sip water, but like take a couple of sips of Pedialyte with the water for that first hour. And then I eat food. I don't eat any food for the first hour, though. That's one of the mistakes that I've made. It will rip my guts up. So I kind of have to keep figuring out where I'm at in that threshold and like that window right after I make the weight. I don't know. It's pretty crazy.
So you made weight and immediately slammed a liter of water?
Yeah, I do. Like
Yikes.
Immediately. Like I literally hopped off the scale and I had a liter of water down within 5 minutes. Just
yeah, that probably that didn't mess you up?
Nope. Okay. I felt great. But then right after that, it's just cruise mode for 1 hour. And then I let everything kind of write itself out, and then I'll order my food or whatever. And I've got my crackers and smoked meat and all that stuff. It's a ritual. It's become a ritual every time now. We go shopping for specific things that I bring with. It's a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah. So I guess personally, a training update, pulled this week for the first time in 2 months. So mostly been lifting weights. This is probably the first winter since 2014 that I didn't take time off and gain 30 pounds of fat. So that's a good thing. I'm sitting around 225. My workout plan is typical. When I work out, I hit all my angles: back pressure, up pressure, side pressure, mostly ramping on sets of 3s. But due to my YouTube channel and the videos that I'm making, I'm basically maxing out all the time on odd exercises that are not part of my normal repertoire. So I'm a little sore, but I think it's paying off by doing some things that are different, and then also forcing me to sort of push the numbers and I guess reach higher than previous. So that's kind of where I am from a training standpoint.
Nice. And what's your weight?
Find that? Oh, go ahead.
What's your weight, Herm?
225.
Nice.
Yeah. So this time last year, I was probably 240, coming down from, well, yeah, this time last year, I was probably 250. And I was in the process of leaving my job and moving back to Louisiana. And I'm pretty sure I was over 260 at some point. So in the previous February to that, I was 240, trying to get to 198 for nationals. And maybe the year before that, I was probably 250 around the same time. So being 225 at this time of the year is pretty good. Taking steps in the right direction, sort of rebuilding those dietary habits, and all that stuff. I probably got a better support team here in Louisiana from a diet, nutrition, and coaching standpoint outside of the arm wrestling community. So, yeah, I'm going to be a lot better than I was the last 4 years, I think.
Who are your teammates in Louisiana? Who do you train with?
From an arm wrestling standpoint, there's Derek Simmons. His left hand, he's got to be like, I mean, I think if you put everybody in the room at 225 in North America, I mean, he's definitely top 10, but he might be like a number 5. Mm-hmm. The dude is an absolute beast. I mean, I've done well at Zloty at 209 left-handed, or maybe both hands, but I think this guy could make 209. And on my best day and his best day, I can't move him. You know, if he slacks on the go, I still can't top roll him. I mean, the dude is a monster. Outside of that, we have Cody LeBlanc. I think he's been arm wrestling less than 2 years. He's about 6'3", 280. He recently beat Brian Sitton in a hook, and he's strong right and left-handed. He and I have already had hard, close matches at multiple local events since moving down here. And then Jonathan Brita, also a new guy, maybe around the 1.5-year mark. He's probably my height. He just got down to 235, but he was up to 280. Real thick, real strong. He's given me trouble at some local events, mostly due to seating and fatigue. But, I mean, this is a hell of a team.
Dude, you're full of monsters, dude.
Yeah, this is the first time I'm going to have a team.
Like, huge.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm going to get better, you know, just from being around these guys. And I think they'll be pretty good with some decent coaching. So that's kind of where we are down here. And then outside of that, I got a couple friends that are pretty big into general health stuff, fitness, dietary things. So, you know, they say you're the average of the people you hang out with. It'll be good to have those two guys around. One in particular, Jordan Taylor, he's sort of been the mad scientist behind a lot of my training for the last 10 years or so. We lived together in college. We competed in the weight room, and then I segued into arm wrestling. And so he's kind of always been behind the scenes, except now in person. So, yeah, I'm pretty pumped going forward.
Wow, sounds like a great group.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. I can't hang out with. It'll be good to have those two guys around.
Nice.
Oh, that's weird.
That was weird.
Let's see here. You guys want to take a couple questions?
Let's do it.
Yeah. I got those boys coming over here real quick, so I might have to take off after 5-10 minutes.
Joe, what time is it?
It's 5:30.
Is it really 5:30?
Yeah, it's 6:30 for you, bud.
Yeah. In a couple of minutes, I'm gonna have to boogie. Well, 5-10 minutes after boogie, I work shift tonight.
Oh, damn.
All right, one question. What's your preferred top roll exercise? You go first, Joe.
Rotation through a strap. Done. Just
strap, karate belt.
Yeah, just a loop. Any sort of a loop. Not too small because it's too much pressure on your hand, right? So like an 1.5 inches or a little over an inch, and just compound, bicep through your rotator or pronation. Yeah.
All right, Gobby, what about you?
If I'm telling someone what to do, if you're not top rolling somebody, is it because your hand's not strong enough, or because your riser is giving up your pronation? So you got to detect which one of that it is. And for example, if you have a really good hand but you're losing your riser, you don't need to use big grip stuff. You just use a strap, add the weight. So for that guy, it would be a strap over the top of his knuckle off a preacher or free, and keep his riser high. And I think that would be the best exercise for him to isolate that part of his wrist. Now, if you have a really good wrist, but you have a small hand and your fingers are breaking open, then you have to go with a 3-inch diameter grip and do like, rising stuff, rotation stuff, but with a grip. So it depends on everything is based on where your weakness is and why you're losing. If you can find out why you're losing, you can mitigate the losses. And so it depends on where your weakness is, I would say. For me personally, I alternate between the two because when my left rolls, it really doesn't try to hang on that much. It tries to really go strong off the back and bicep, and it keeps the riser a little bit better. So my left would be more strap work. My right never ever works top roll, but if I wanted to work the top roll, it would be more fat grip stuff because my hand's not as strong. My fingers don't contain quite as well as my left. So it's just difference of where my weaknesses lie, where my strengths lie. Gotcha.
My favorite top roll exercise historically has been a karate belt wrapped around the wrist and sort of pronating into a hammer curl. I think with the new strap, the fairer strap, I think I need to change that, and I need to do more karate belt just in the hand.
Yeah.
So pronating through the hand as opposed to pronating through the wrist. So I think that's kind of where I'm going with that.
Let me quickly elaborate though. But the best top roll exercise you can do is on the table with a partner, like without a doubt, because you can bring all the other factors into play. Side pressure, back pressure, lat, all that stuff come into play. And I think when you do that and you treat it like a compound movement, you bring more general pressure to that point, and your gains are increased. Artem told me about this years ago, and I completely agree with him. And it's from a Russian coach, a Russian trainer. And it's using, even though the riser is small in the pronation, these are small parts, integrate them in like a compound environment to increase their overall output when you do arm wrestle on the table or go to a tournament. And I've noticed it's true. It's fun to do stuff at home, and it doesn't hurt to do stuff at home because we don't have table sessions every day. But if I absolutely had to get my roll better, absolutely, and I can create my own environment, ideally, it would be on the table every 2-3 days with great training partners, top rolling at 80-90%, sometimes redlining once, twice a week. And I'm certain that platform there will get my top roll progressively stronger than just doing isolation strap stuff. I have no doubt on that. So my answer is table.
Yeah. Another quick question, starting with Joe. What's your favorite overall exercise?
Favorite overall exercise? Weighted pull-ups.
Boom. All right, Gobby?
One arm dumbbell alternating snatches with a 70-pound dumbbell. How many I can do, how long I do 100. So alternating one left, one, right, left, and I time myself. And the result is not reps because you're trying to do 100 reps. So the result is time. So central nervous, cardiovascular, great back, great trap work, great grip work. Because sometimes I'll put a fat grip on the 70-pound dumbbell. It is if I can only work one exercise and I had to hit everything, it hits explosive power, functional power, central nervous system. It's a metabolic stressor. It takes anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes, and you're on your fucking ass. Like, it will destroy you. The best exercise, bar none. It's a CrossFit thing. It has no equal.
That's throwing the weight above your head, Chris?
70-pound dumbbell on the ground. You lean down with one hand. You snap it up in one motion, right arm. You put it back on the ground with control. You can't drop it. You go with the left. You snap it back up in one motion, using legs, ass, hips to snap it up, and then with your shoulders and front delts to extend and triceps to fully extend it in a controlled fashion. And you do right, left, until you hit 100. Now, usually what you do is you do 20, and then you take like a 30-second breather. Some people take 40 if you're in out of shape, maybe a minute. But basically, what you're looking for is time. My goal has always been to do this in 5 minutes because that's what pro CrossFitters do, and I can't. My top has been like 7, 8, and I've even done 12 minutes with an 80-pound dumbbell. But I'm telling you, there's nothing I've ever done in my life, and I'm talking about sprinting up hills, anything I've done, tire flipping, nothing compares to the metabolic stressor or just the central nervous system, stressor that this thing does. It has no equal. If I can only pick one, it would be that for everything.
Okay. My favorite exercise, I'm going to plead the fifth because it's going to cost you.
Oh, that program. 1999.
1999. Gobby, I think you got to go.
I'm good yet. They're not here yet, so I can roll.
Oh, you guys, you guys continue. I got a boogie.
All right, later, Gobby.
Later.
See you, Chris.
Yeah, it's probably time to wrap it up, Joe. There's one question.
We're over an hour mark, so we just touch a couple questions and be good.
Cool. Last question. Are hammer curls good enough, or do you need to also use a strap over the knuckle?
Oh, like he's saying, are hammer curls good enough, or do you need to, like with a dumbbell versus do you need to use an actual strap?
Yeah, that goes over the front of your knuckle. I'll take the question. No, I don't think hammer curls alone are good enough for training for arm wrestling. At the same time, I'm not a personal fan of putting a strap over my knuckles and doing curls because personally, I don't feel comfortable going heavy on it. I think it's an easy way to go to Snap City, hurt something on your wrist. So maybe you have to be more moderate. But even Devin's mentioned in some of his videos that you have to be careful when putting a strap over the front of your knuckles when doing some of these exercises and going heavy.
Yeah, your wrist.
I train correct. I train my post separately, and then I train my riser separately, and I isolate those exercises. Let's see here. All right, Joe. A guy with a super long forearm comes to the table. What's your instinct? Do you low grip and force him to hook, or do you fight him up top?
If I feel pressure on the back of my hand, like if I feel his fingers pressing down on me, that'll decide whether or not I feel like he's going to try to contain or if he's going to try and, run away from me. But I feel good hooking and top rolling. So if they're not at least 50-50, if they're like a dominant top roller, I'm just going to try and hook them. Or if they're a dominant hooker, I'm just going to top roll them because I feel comfortable in either position. So for me, it's just my first assumptions, what are they better at? And then I'm just going to take the path of least resistance.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it's all about the strength gap. I mean, it doesn't matter if he has a long arm. If he's weak, then I'll just do whatever the hell I want. Dude. Yeah, but if he's weak, doesn't matter. I'll do whatever I want to do. If he has a really long arm, and let's say I feel vulnerable to being top rolled, then personally, based on my skill set, I don't think I should try to supinate and try to hook him. Right? I need to go high on his hand. Because that'll give me my best shot to possibly slip and get the straps. And then once I'm in the straps, I'm probably still going to try to control high because the super long arm guy typically has to dump his wrist. So he's going to give me riser position.
Yep.
Right. And even if I lose my hand, if I maintain pronation, I can still use my riser and a flop wrist to control him that way.
Yep.
Because taking someone's hand doesn't always mean you have control. But I think that's sort of an advanced discussion. And I think it goes against common convention that you don't want to take someone's hand. So, yeah, I think that's probably about as much as we can answer that question here without being on the table and going over a specific, case-by-case situation.
Probably making a separate video for that one, like a miniature off-show video.
Correct. But if it was me against Nicholas Nanestad or something like that, I would be trying to control his hand high, and even if he went over the top of me, I know that I would have high riser position, even if my wrist was broken back, and that would give me options to drive sideways or press or to isolate his bicep.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, I think we're good to go, Joseph. You ready to head out, man?
I got the whole team here, so looks like we're going to start training. We'll catch you guys later.
Later, man. Be safe.
Yeah, you too.